Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Heaven Studio Weekly News. This is my username, and this is what happened on the Heaven Studio server this week. So, big week this week, we just got the brand new Bobby build. We got some insane new games and features. The new minigames are Love Rap, Iragiri, Samurai Slice from Rhythm Heaven Fever. We got a new fan game called Valiant Volley, which is very fun. And then we got Wario de Mambo from WarioWare Twisted. So, some insane stuff for you to experiment with. We've also got a whole new line of showcase levels for you to play in the new build. So as soon as you can, we implore you, download the new build, check out those showcase levels. There's some peak material made by some peak remixers, wink wink nudge nudge. And be sure to stay tuned for after Remix Showcase. We have an exclusive interview with one of them. And with that, here is your Remix Showcase. Roller Disco Rumble by A does a spectacular job of emulating the Rhythm Doctor style by having some simulated window dance on top of a fake desktop. Balance by Aura has a nice nostalgic feel with some exceptional charting.
Punch, kick, 3, 4. Hit 2. Heavy and tap, tap, heavy. Tap, tap, tap.
Doggy God Street by the great and mighty Waffle Captain has entirely hand-drawn background and too many references to dogs and other media to even count. Mario Land Dixie by NSPG uses our very own Heaven Studio memes in some immensely creative ways, in addition to just having a solid visual identity and fun gameplay.
Into you. All about you. 1, 2, 3.
And to talk more about that, the man himself, the not-so-perfect gamer, NSPG. Alright, NSPG, thank you so much for joining me for this interview. So, first thing I'd like to ask is, in your newest remix, Mario Land Dixie, what inspired you to pick that song?
Yeah, no problem, Timu, and thank you for having me on for the interview. So, what's been inspiring my picks lately for remixing songs, and particularly Mario Land Dixie, I've just been listening to a crap ton of the Mario Kart World OST, like during like times when I'm like studying or like working in college. It's like I put it on the Mario Kart World OST on YouTube and just like shuffle and listen to the different songs. And it's just like each and every different arrangement is so cool. If you haven't noticed, this is my fourth remix from Mario Kart World ever since the game came out. Like there was Salty Speedway, there was Net Attack, there was Great Question Black Ruins for my event remix.
I remember that one.
For the showcase level, yeah, my showcase level. The actual name of the remix is like, not the actual name of the song is like Please Select Player, since it's the actual name of the song from Super Mario Bros. 2, the arrangement. But yeah, that's why I chose it. Just been listening to a crap ton of the Mario Kart World OST. There's like other songs from there that I've just been like eyeing to remix. So if you just like ever notice in the future there's more Mario Kart World remixes, that's where it's coming from. I'm just listening to OST back and forth every time I'm working. It's very, very addicting.
Also, yeah, I know I definitely do similar things with certain game soundtracks. Like, for me, it's just been Undertale and Deltarune recently. I haven't remixed any of those, but anyway, let's move on.
Sure.
My next question for you is, when you're doing remix VFX, what's your kind of strategy for it? Do you, like, go in having everything fully planned? Do you kind of, like, build a plan as you go? Or do you just, like, completely, like, wing it and just, like, do what looks good and, like, okay, let's move on?
Okay, so let's see. So I'd say starting from the beginning, since like most of my remixes are from video game OSTs,
Right.
I take a lot of inspiration from said video. Whenever I get the chance, actually, I like to go ahead and play the game that the soundtrack is, or play the game that the music track is from. So for my latest remix, Mario Land Dixie, I have a old Nintendo Entertainment System hooked up in my basement. I went and played some Super Mario Bros. 2 for a little bit. You know, just like going, jumping around, playing in that for a little bit. It's like I jumped around like a bunch of games actually. Like for the VFX in board meeting specifically, it's modeled after the casino from
I noticed that.
Super Mario 64 DS or New Super Mario Bros. The Luigi Casino minigame.
That is so nostalgic for me. I'll just say that. Like, seeing that gave me, like, the biggest smile. I'm like, yes! I love Luigi Poker. Anyway, keep going.
For sure. So, yeah, so I have a copy of New Super Mario Bros. For DS. I booted that up and just, like, looked through it. Yeah, like, that's the big thing. It's like looking through games for inspiration for most of my game VFX. And then
Right.
I just kind of just like build it from there, just like with ideas that like build from inspiration from the video games. Like just to keep like with the casino theme in Mario Land Dixie, the Nail Carpenter VFX are based off of bonus rooms in Super Mario 3D World, where there's like a entire room of gold bricks, and you can go in there and collect coins. And actually, a different arrangement of that same Please Select Player track plays in those rooms, so it's all connected in that sort of way. And you
so
could
fun.
say like this sort of reference heavy. That's kind of how I'd like to describe, like very much reference heavy kind of VFXing style, just like basing things pretty dang directly off of the games or inspiration or whatever itself. And
Well,
there is like, yeah, go ahead.
I'd argue that, like, the way you do it is, it's definitely feeding into those references, but it's in, like, a more original manner, since, like, the specific references you're pulling from aren't usually arranged in that way. You know, like you said, you pulled from, like, the original Mario 2, you pulled from, like, New Super Mario Bros., you pulled from 3D World, those all, like, aspects coming together is, I think, what makes, like, a remix like that just so fun to watch, just because you don't really see all those things meshed together in that way.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I like pulling from different sources and not pulling like one-to-one directly. This is a screenshot kind of VFX. Right. I mean, for like, it works in like a pinch, but you know, take inspiration. That's the main thing. I don't want to really like copy, like take inspiration. You know, if I need to, like for a couple of my Mario Kart World remixes, specifically my event remix. For Question Black Ruins. I know it's unrelated to the current, but I'm just going. I did screenshots through like the game on my own. Obviously, it's like a 24-hour thing, so I kind of need to like, get it quick. But it's still kind of like you have to position the camera to have it frame this like specific section of screenshot you want. But if I were to, you know, just sum it up, like everything I just said in like the past 5 minutes, VFXing, lots of inspiration to create like more original like backgrounds, decals, whatever it makes, just like give the remix like, yes, you're feeling the nostalgia reference to the source material, but you're also getting just like what's unique about the remix and the music and the charting itself wrapped up into VFX. I guess I could say, like, for visual at least. And I'll leave it at that.
All right. Wonderful. All right. My third question for you is, comparing like your newest remix to like your history, like all the way back to like your first up until now, specifically talking about gameplay, how do you think your style has evolved?
Let's see, about gameplay. I mean, you can definitely say what I've noticed, at least, about not just myself, but every remixer when they're usually starting out. They usually start out with like a whole boatload of games. There's no besides like RHR, Rhythm Heaven Remix Editor. This is a lot of people like first time doing custom Rhythm Heaven stuff. And you have this whole over 100 mini games with this latest Bobby build, actually. It's been over 100, but just the number of games keep growing. You see all that as a new remixer. You just want to dip your hands into every little thing. You use like, most of the time I see like new remixers use a whole boatload of mini games in their first remix, and I think that's okay. That's good. It's good to get
Yeah, I did that for my first remix. I used every single mini game that was from the original Rhythm Heavens that was available at that time, and I don't think it turned out very well. It's not a remix I look back on very fondly, but it got me used to using the program, and I think that's what's important about that.
Yeah, for sure, and I can say that about where I started out. It's kind of funny. My two original first remixes, Witch Encounter, and the other one was an Angry Birds song. You call that a stick. I did a whole lot of mini games through that. Witch Encounter came out okay. I think it's still like decent. It's like a C tier, like not horrible. Definitely, you can tell it's like my first remix. Actually, today, from when the news episode comes out, it'll be 2 years ago when I did my first remix. Actually,
so cool!
I did it,
oh my gosh,
February 29th on a leap day.
Whoa!
And I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, hey, I want to have something that says February, but that's you called it a stick. I'm gonna be honest, that's my worst remix by far. I crammed 8 mini games into a minute 15 remix, and all of them, I'd pretty much say all of them, are treated poorly. I definitely I'm not sure if it's just wanted to experiment more. I want definitely more experimental compared to later remixes, and the experiment definitely went in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
and I kind of kept on this lot of mini game. I wouldn't say kept going for a streak or anything, but it did ended up in me creating Albuquerque, which is I'm not gonna try to inflate my words, but it's a little bit popular, just a slightly popular remix of mine, which uses I think I'm not sure total. It's close to 50 games in just one remix. Which the song's 11.5 minutes long, so it kind of needs that.
Sure.
But I'd say from Albuquerque, going on from Albuquerque is when I really start to limit myself in the amount of games that I use, and I think that helped me out there in the long run. Just slimming it down. I had a lot of not a lot, but 2 contest remixes in a row from when Dom was doing the contest. I think Step It and eShop Arrow. Slimmed down the mini games a whole lot, focused on specific types of VFX there, just slimming it down, making things more concise, I should say, concise and streamlined to where everything flows more well. I had a streak where I did 4 mini games, not 4 remixes in a month, so I had a lot of time to change up or just experiment with different types of VFX, you slim down the games. Going on and on, let's see. I definitely got a greater handle on VFX, even before Decal started coming out, the first year from Lush to Advent Calendar 2024. I got a handle on VFX, and even did a little bit custom textures for my last remix of that year. Then I feel I really started getting my stride when the Bobby build that introduced decals came out. I think that was late December or yeah, like 1209, I think it came out. Started using decals for my remix. I hope this map has bluegrass too. Just like very light there. And then like going on, just experimenting with decals more. Tribal King, Underwater Totem Climber, some remixes I look back on fondly. But I really think where I'd say I start like my modern streak is my first pack-in level for a Bobby build was Troubleshooting Star. That came out April 12th was when that Bobby build came out. I really started focusing on what I think really defines like my levels in VFX, which is really aiming for those big impact moments. Like they might not be like the most flashy or impressive VFX, or might not be the absolutely tip of the top cream of the crop gameplay, but I think where I hit my stride, climbing into my modern remixes, starting with Troubleshooting Stars, like just using the VFX to really heighten those huge big moments, like a flash, like a slight flash when you hit a pot in Karate Man, or less Karate Man, more figure. This is more specifics, but flashes when you hit beats. You might do like a screen shake when you hit an input. You it like goes more into it like
like subtle movements, subtle little things that you just add that just kind of like maybe you don't really notice them, but they like subconsciously like make the remix feel more epic when you're playing.
I agree. Yeah, just like the smaller things that really add up all together. That I think. Let's see. What do I think really? I'd say this kind of one of my smaller remixes. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it, but what I did for the budget contest, the song that comes from Art of Balance, I think that's like sort of like a kind of like a peak example where you like take the very limited cloud decals,
right? Yes.
To kind of like how do I word this?
That was a very pretty looking remix, yeah.
Yeah, the cloud decals, like, where it like syncs up the gameplay.
It complements the gameplay.
Yeah, it kind of complements the gameplay. Where I'd say there's probably more clouds that come up. They're like big holds, like during the DJ school segments, where DJ Yellow holds or you hold. It doesn't matter who holds, but clouds like sort of fog up the screen where you really like need to focus. So like it's kind of like clouds in your brain. You really need to focus yourself, and I think that's a good example where the VFX and gameplay sync together. And that's just like that goes like the rest of my modern remixes: Net Attack, Queen of Venus, Secret Base Zone, even like Mario Land Dixie. A favorite detail of mine, I'm not sure if like anybody has pointed this out or like noticed anything, but in Mario Land Dixie, you look at the board meeting on the poker table where the boards are gambling, they have chips and they have beers, and whenever they hit whenever the assistant hits the 1, 2, 3 stop, the super hard stop, and the screen shakes, the chips and the beer, they jump off the table just a little bit and like land back down. Like you can really feel the impact of that 1, 2, 3 stop, even though I haven't really changed the gameplay that much. It's just the extra bits of VFX that really add to your input and make things feel like that snap that just adds to your gameplay. Even though, VFX doesn't do anything to gameplay. I mean, if you like VFX, like even though the VFX doesn't like directly impact your gameplay, you can almost feel a difference in maybe like the way you press a button or do like a flick, just the way things react to your input. It's like if everything reacts around to your input, it kind of makes your input feel really strong. And that's the sort of thing I want to emphasize with like this remix that I've recently, Mario Land Dixie, and future remixes. That's sort of my thing. Like just like syncing VFX to gameplay in that way that makes the gameplay feel all much more snappier and responsive. Responsive. That's, I think, the word I've been looking for this entire rant. Responsive. Responsive VFX to make your gameplay feel more responsive. That's how I'm going to end this.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. I think stuff like that, little details like that are just so fun to see. Okay, so then for my penultimate question, I'd just like to ask you, when you got like the preview build, when you were working on your showcase level, what was like the most exciting thing that you saw that was added?
Let's see. The big upgrades for selection, selection on the track, where you don't have to highlight the entire bar to like grab something. You can just like highlight the center of it and drag it around. That's super huge for making things more efficient. I don't have to like, press like A on my keyboard to like shift left while I have to like grab a super huge block. Like especially for my Mario Land Dixie remix where you have the curtain decal hanging over the entire remix. Like if this was like an older build, like 914, I'd have to drag my cursor and grab the entire block from beginning to end, just like be able to like move it like left or right with like other blocks, and that'd be annoying. But with the new update, being able to grab blocks just by selecting part of it, or not having to like go to like either end, like especially when you have decals stacked on top of decals on top of decals, that is really helpful and saves a lot of time. I'd say the other thing is there's a little eye icon in the bottom left that you can use to show specific blocks on your timeline, gameplay, VFX, other, that really helps you stay organized. Because I've kind of learned that I prefer not extending my tracks too much, like not have like 50 different tracks like scroll up and down through the timeline to select. I like keeping things simple to like 10, like couple extra if possible, and that makes that all the more possible. Just like dedicate or being able to just like choose to see gameplay only, then you can switch over to VFX to and you can like turn the gameplay blocks off, and you can put VFX blocks where your gameplay blocks were, and that's no longer just gonna jumble up and mess up where you're able to grab things.
Right.
So those two in particular, just like optimizations to the timeline, that absolutely just helps with remixing efficiency, and hopefully it might be able to, makes it less annoying to like work with decals in particular, like especially like stacking stuff up, like Salty Speedway in particular, where I've got completely custom backgrounds, layers on top of layers, like the moving clouds and Garden Dance in that remix, or even like Double Date, where I have clouds moving in the background, the water moving, the barrel, just a whole bunch of decals stacked on top of each other. It came really hard to work with, so hopefully optimizations like that will really help out in the long run for more decal heavy, VFX intense remixes. So that's what I enjoyed the most from the previews, at least.
Yeah, I do find it very funny that, not necessarily funny, but like interesting, just the way when I ask you, what's your favorite thing from the new build, kind of expecting like, one of the new mini games, or like new things you can do with decals, and then I get just the quality of life changes. But I mean, I think that's wonderful. Yeah, like, it goes to show, like, that stuff is necessary, Like
100%, yeah. It's definitely not maybe to most people who, are looking at like new mini games, or pack-in. Pack-in's not a feature of a preview, but like new mini games, new VFX options, but it's just like little things add up, especially like just like for optimization for timeline, even like the countless like bug fixes, and less a bug fix but more like a VFX thing. I was really happy to see the improvements for Animal Acrobat in the preview that has like the built-in vignette. Back when I did Advent Calendar, I made a bonus remix that had Animal Acrobat, and I wanted that vignette effect, but obviously that was back in the Advent calendar. They didn't have that fancy Animal Acrobat vignette, so I had to like manually move like the vignette VFX option around in HS, just like changing the numbers like bit by bit. I was able to copy and paste once I got like each like monkey, elephant, giraffe section down, but it was kind of tedious, and it doesn't look like super official with the look I was going for, but I'm glad that's in here too.
I'll say it doesn't help like that Animal Acrobat moves in like a curved motion, which is not very easy to.
Yeah, not exactly the greatest for the vignette option, which cannot unlike camera movements, which can be split in the X, Y, and Z axis. You can't really do that with vignette. Not in a way that'd be like too complicated for Heaven Studio. So I'm glad to just have that option finally, and have Animal Acrobat, which has been in the Bobby build for a long time, just unfinished. I'm glad to finally have a more finished version of that game in this newest Bobby build.
Yeah, 100%. All right, my last question before we end this interview is what sort of tips do you have for like any aspiring creators? So like maybe someone like just kind of started learning about the program, or maybe they've even been at it for like a few months but like want to get to the next level. What kind of tips do you have?
Okay, that is a good one. Hold on, let me think about what I've gone. I think, let's see. Out of anything you're doing, I think you really should just talk to people, okay? Like talk to people in studio chat, just interactive community, like studio chat, talk to people about like charting, go to what work and practice, what WIP levels. You don't even like need to like give like detailed. You don't even need to be the one like giving criticism or like asking for criticism if that's what you're not looking for. You can just like look at other people posting their WIPs and like see what kind of criticism they're getting. You can kind of learn, and apply that to your own levels in a way. Just talk to people, make friends even. You just like share remixes with friends, and that will genuinely make you better, I promise. Because just like talking to people across the HS server, like Hazel, Tenopiana, doing tuning. That this is like more me personal thing. Seeing a lot of people's charting and like me tuning like rockers levels, that's a lot for me. And like learning other people's like charting. So it's just definitely, it's like interacting with your community, making friends. It will genuinely improve your remixes. Just getting involved, and it's like even like remixing more often. Like I know a lot of people like pressure to make a remix that they may seem this thing is perfect, absolutely amazing, glorious VFX, tip-top charting, but not everybody didn't start at a level that high. We all start somewhere at the beginning. You don't have to publish the next Push Your Temper. You don't have to publish the next Windows XP remix. You don't have to publish the next As Seen on TV collab. You can just make like a little level. It doesn't even have to have decals even. This is like it does have decals, but Raffi's level from the showcase, Clutterfunk, absolutely one of my favorite remixes from that showcase, and that barely has VFX, just kind of like at the end almost. It's like interesting gameplay, but Raffi's a veteran, so it's kind of like with the gameplay kind of being amazing. But like it just kind of goes to show you don't need to have over the top VFX. You don't need to have like groundbreaking breaking gameplay. You just need to have fun publishing your remixes. Like it might be bad. I had bad remixes, but I was having fun uploading. So like remixing more often, doing it for fun, interacting with your community, and you take those three big the big three pieces of advice, and I think you'll genuinely go far.
Yeah, 100%. I can definitely attest to just, like, know where you're at and don't try to go above that. I personally, I didn't, like, use that many decals in my thing at all until, like, my 8th published remix, which, you know, I've been at it for a while, and so, like, the fact that I haven't really, like, done anything with decal work very heavily until my 8th remix, which that was only, like, even a few months ago at this point. So, yeah. It's just... know where you're at, and just don't be ashamed of something that doesn't, like, look the most beautiful of all time. Because my levels don't look the most beautiful of all time, but I think they're pretty neat. And just know where you're at, and I love that.
It's also kind of like a different era. I can't say I'm the veteran because I'm not. I only joined Heaven Studio in January 2024 when the Lush build released. I wasn't there for like any of the pre-release stuff, so I can't say I'm a veteran. But I did for about a year. You know, be in an environment where remixes were made without decals, and that is honestly a pretty major difference. You know, having to work with VFX without, you know, being able to just put whatever image you wanted into Heaven Studio without... There's like a really weird, complex way where you could like take your image, make it into like ASCII squares, and like have each like ASCII squared painted and like put it into like an arrangement to make it look like a picture. Vincels had a website for that where you could do that, and like that's why if you watch Albuquerque today and wonder like why is Walter White pixelized, why does that movie that they show in the plane, why are those images pixelized, that's why. So they're like their option was there for like really crappy images, but I think just making remixes without decals, not even like without decals, like no ability to have decals, I think that, you know, I'm not sure if it's an advantage or disadvantage, because like remixes with and without decals are equally valid, but you know, making it without and having to do your VFX another way, I think kind of like forced me to really get a grip on the basics before, you know, jamming images into it like a year later after Lush first released. That's not to say that you can't get great at VFX in an area with only decals, because like obviously we've got you, Timu, we're doing remixes in like a mostly decal era and kind of great. Boris was here during Lush, but started making remixes mostly more in the decal era, looking absolutely fantabulous. It's kind of like a different mindset almost, but still, I think both with and without decals, and even like being in the eras with and without decals, you can make a simple remix, a complex remix, decalless, decals, anything. You just make the remix you want to make first and foremost. You make remixes for yourself, and I think you'll do just fine.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview. It's been a pleasure to have you. And with that, Colix, I'd like you to move on to our art showcase. Before we do that, though, any final thoughts?
No, I'm just glad to really be here talking, exchanging my thoughts that I really haven't had the opportunity to really physically talk to anybody else. You know, it's not like you're really going to run into a person talking about Heaven Studio, you know, at school, unless you're the one to introduce them to it. It's not the most common subject in the world, but it's nice to talk about this and just being able to like physically talk about Heaven Studio. It's nice. I really enjoy it. So thank you again for letting me on this interview.
And that's it for this edition of Heaven Studio Weekly News. This program was brought to you by This Is My Username, Colix, Star, Tenno Piana, and Heaven Studio Demon. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to NSPG for agreeing to an interview, and have fun with the new build. It's exceptional stuff.